if you've ever gotten something from generative AI that looked okay on the surface but just felt off, like it needed a ton of work, you're definitely not alone. We're talking about Workslop. It's this AI-generated stuff that kind of pretends to be productive work, but really it just makes the next person down the line waste hours fixing it. It's like this invisible tax we're putting on ourselves inside companies.
And it's a huge tax. I mean, one source we looked at put a number on it for a, say, 10,000 person company. We're talking about $9 million a year. Lost. Beat. That's just pure waste. Productivity down the drain, basically fueled by taking the easy digital way out.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to try and cut through some of that noise. We're using the sources you sent over to look at the hard reality of scaling AI, trying to figure out where it's actually delivering genius and where it's just making these expensive messes.
Yeah, we've got a plan. First up, we'll dig deeper into this Workslop thing, the actual cost financially, but also, psychologically, whole trust tax idea. Then second, we'll pivot. Look at how fast AI capabilities are actually jumping forward. I mean, from gaming to even warnings about the job market. And finally, we'll tackle the big one, this potential AI energy apocalypse. Is this massive build-out of power infrastructure really needed? Or is it, maybe speculative hype?
Right. The goal here is really separating that hype from the hard reality when you actually try to deploy this stuff at scale. Let's get into it. So the basic idea behind Workslop, it's really just pushing the cost onto someone else, isn't it? Someone hits generate, maybe glances at it, feels good because they send something.
Productive.
Right. But then the person who gets it might spend, 2 hours cleaning it up. They end up eating the entire cost of that quick solution.
Exactly. It's the hidden cost of their convenience, passed straight to their colleague. And, this isn't rare. The data we saw suggests 40% of employees got Workslop just last month. And maybe 15% of all the stuff flying around the workplace, emails, reports, code, whatever, is basically slop now. Scale that up, right? The estimate was about $186 per incident per month. That's how you get to that $9 million figure pretty fast in a big company. This may be less like stacking Lego blocks badly and more like building software on a shaky foundation. The code looks okay, maybe compiles. But try adding a new feature. Everything breaks. You face huge delays, costly rewrites you have to do. It's unstable underneath.
Okay, that analogy makes more sense for maybe our technical listeners. But I still have to push a little on that 9 million number. Is there a chance that's, consultants kind of hyping the problem to sell solutions? Or is it a solid measured cost?
That's a really important question. And yeah, consultants are always going to sell solutions, right? But this specific calculation seems based on documented time sinks. Things like average hourly wage times the hours people report spending just verifying or rewriting this AI output. So you can quibble with the exact dollar amount maybe, but the cost is definitely real. And it's not just money, it's the human side. This trust tax idea. You keep sending out subpar AI stuff and people notice. Over half, 53%, they get annoyed. Okay, fine, but worse. 42% start seeing the sender as less trustworthy, and 37% literally think they're less intelligent. Ouch. Your credibility just tanks. That's the real danger, systemically.
And that happens when companies just say use AI everywhere, right? Without clear rules. So people become passengers just using it to dodge work instead of being pilots who use it to genuinely amplify their own skills, their creativity. I'll admit, I still wrestle with this temptation myself sometimes. Prompt drift. Getting that easy answer that looks good initially, but, deep down, it's going to need 5 more rounds of checks and edits before it's actually usable.
Good point. Let's quickly define prompt drift for everyone, because it's key to Workslop. It's basically when the AI's output quality gets worse over a long chat or lots of edits, like the model loses the plot, loses context, and just starts spitting out nonsense. So given this trust problem and people acting like passengers, what's the single most critical thing leaders need to do to shift people towards being pilots?
Leaders need to prioritize critical thinking and verification over just speed. Okay, so that Workslop issue, that's one side of the coin. It's misusing a powerful tool, basically. But the irony is, while we're struggling with that, the tech itself is just leaping forward exponentially, achieving things that are genuinely, genius level.
Yeah. Oh, the pace is wild. Look at connectivity. ChatGPT connectors, which are just tools linking language models to other software for automation. They now work with over 500 apps. Automation isn't some future thing. It's right there, plug and play, pretty much. And the models are getting smarter, deeper. Google's Gemini AI, for instance, it's showing how it can think through a search query, not just matching keywords, but producing these detailed summaries, better reasoning.
And then there's this this moment that really makes you pause. GPT-5 Codex, it apparently one-shotted Minecraft. Just think about that. One prompt in plain English, and it builds a whole 3D world. Textures, water, physics, the works. Whoa! I mean, imagine scaling that ability, solving incredibly complex real-world problems with that kind of power. That's huge potential. Kind of terrifying, too.
Yeah, but that power surge has a flip side as it filters into daily life. You see Meta using AI and Facebook dating now, an algorithm trying to optimize human connection. And then the really dark end? Those hyper-realistic AI-generated murder videos made with VO that showed up on YouTube only got taken down because a journalist flagged them. The tech moves faster than our ability to manage it or even moderate it sometimes.
And that speed crashes right into the economy. Which brings us to that stark warning from the Wharton professor you mentioned. Their research suggests this kind of exponential leap like the Minecraft thing shows is possible could make a lot of human jobs, especially white-collar ones, obsolete and fast. The timelines seem to be shrinking way faster than people thought.
Right, so we need to ask, does this sheer speed of deployment building a whole game world instantly mean job losses are coming much, much sooner than most predictions?
Yeah, seems like it.
The exponential leap demands we start preparing now for big job shifts.
Okay, we've covered the software side, the slop, and the genius. Let's switch gears to the hardware, the physical infrastructure, specifically the massive energy needed to actually run these things.
Oh, it's staggering. One modern AI data rack. It pulls the same power as maybe 80 to 100 average homes. Compare that to a traditional server rack, maybe 3 homes worth of power. So this need for huge computation is driving these gigantic energy requests to utilities everywhere. We're talking gigawatts.
But here's the tension, right? This predicted AI energy apocalypse. Maybe it's not all based on solid confirmed need. Maybe there's a lot of speculative hype driving overbuilding.
The signs of potential inflation are definitely there. Since this whole AI boom kicked off, proposals for new natural gas power plants are up 70%, mostly earmarked for future data centers.
That gets us.
In the U.S. Southeast, the demand utilities are forecasting is 4 times higher than what independent researchers think the actual need will be. 4 times.
4 times. That's a massive difference. How does that even happen? Why are utilities seemingly accepting forecasts that might be wildly inflated? What's the mechanism?
Well, it seems like a mix of things. System incentives, maybe some regulatory capture. Developers put in these huge requests often before they even have the money lined up, or firm customers. Speculative requests. Utilities often accept them, perhaps to lock down the rights to build generations, secure land, get permits. They call it nameplate capacity. It's like a land grab for future power needs based on potential, not guaranteed use. And apparently even utilities admit privately the real usage might end up being, 3 to 5 times smaller than what's on paper right now.
Okay, so if that hype bubble bursts, or even just shrinks significantly, who pays for all that potentially unnecessary gas infrastructure they built? It's got to be the consumers, right? Through higher electricity bills, the costs get socialized.
Exactly. Stranded assets paid for by ratepayers and the environmental cost. Also huge. One example cited was a Meta data center project down in Louisiana. If all that speculative demand actually happens, it could lock in over 100 million tons of extra carbon emissions just from that one project's power needs over its life.
So this rush to build feels like it creates a major policy clash. It lines up nicely with political agendas favoring fossil fuels, but it runs directly against stated goals like getting to a carbon-free grid by, say, 2035. It feels like we're planning a fossil fuel future based on maybe a ghost demand.
Yeah, it's a real paradox. So if utilities know they might be over-forecasting demand by potentially 4x, what's the single biggest systemic risk here for energy policy for all of us consumers?
Consumers risk paying for unnecessary fossil fuel plants based on inflated AI hype. Mid-roll sponsor read placeholder. Script continues after this. ### big idea recap and outro.
Okay, let's try to pull the threads together from this deep dive. What we're seeing is this fundamental AI paradox, right? On one hand, it's creating huge new inefficiencies inside companies that Workslop, costing millions. But on the other hand, it's achieving these incredible genius-level things that could totally reshape the job market.
Yeah, the connection seems to be this deep misalignment everywhere. Misalignment between the tool's capability and how it's actually being applied. That's the whole passengers versus pilots thing causing the slop. And then this huge misalignment between the real energy needs right now versus this potentially overblown speculative infrastructure build-out based on hype.
It feels like, based on the sources, we're building this massive energy future based on the promise of AI, what it might consume someday, but maybe not on its proven, confirmed necessity today. So here's a provocative thought for you to chew on this week. Thinking about that Workslop, what existing human institution, maybe a big government agency, a traditional industry, maybe even a university, what will be the first one to really start crumbling under the weight of all that AI-generated inefficiency?
That is a fascinating and slightly unsettling thought exercise. So your call to action this week, just be mindful. Pay attention to the AI-generated content you encounter. Ask yourself, is this saving time? Is it quality? Or is it slop? Are you seeing genius? Or just more digital noise? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into AI's hidden costs and its undeniable power. Otiro music fades in.